just do it, get it done. Till it's done, then I'm done. All I'm gonna do is just do it, get it done. Till it's done, then I'm done. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Major. I'm the host of the Majoration Podcast, where we talk about all things inspirational, aspirational, and motivational. As always, I'm always looking for different guests to bring on that's going to hopefully inspire you, share a great story, give you some tools and tips for your success while you're on your entrepreneurial or business journey. Today is no different. I brought a great guest on with today to introduce to you guys. It's a little bit about her. She is very passionate. She's a business professional and a life insurance broker who is committed to helping individuals create and protect their wealth while building meaningful lives. As the founder of the Wealth Nation, Bree inspires others to achieve financial independence through integrity, faith, and love. She's a powerhouse in leveraging Instagram to grow her business and is on a mission to empower others to take control of their financial futures while giving back to their communities. So without further ado, Bree, welcome to the Majoration Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is an absolute pleasure being here with you. I'm so excited. I know we're going to impact a lot of lives, and God is going to be using us to create a lot of change for our community. So excited, and thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Well, let's just talk about how this day has started already. So you're at home, and the lights go out, and and you had a thought to like not do it, but then you decide to push through. Tell me what inkling said, I'm gonna push through this because something is working against me.
You know what? I got to the office at 7. There was no lights in the whole building. And I was like, what is happening? That has never happened, first of all. So I was like, okay, so should I cancel? Should I reschedule? But then I'm like, no, I'm gonna pivot because I always feel like if there's something great there, the enemy is going to come and try to attack you. So I just took it and like, you know what? Not today. So let me just switch it up. I actually came to an office nearby, so I was like, let me just set up here, and then we'll take it from there. So a lot of lives are going to be changed today, and I'm excited for it.
I love that. Well, I think that brings me to one of my points that I'm always talking about when it comes to perspective. So either you're going to see an obstacle or you're going to see an opportunity, right? And so just off the beginning of our conversation, I was like, in regards to perspective and mindset, you have the right attitude that breeds and fosters success. So thank you for not canceling and improvising and coming up with ways how we can impact lives by just having this meaningful conversation today. So I want to, before we go deeper into the professional side of it, I want to kind of get a better feel for who you are in regards to, where you're from and some of your background and some of your aspirations, and how did you ultimately end up where you are now in the insurance industry?
You know what? It's a funny story. It's a very interesting story because I was never.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Major here. Real quick, I know you are enjoying the episode as much as I am enjoying the episode as well, but I want to tell you real quickly about this sweater that I have on. This sweater is significant because I made my first $1 million with this clothing line, Lord Major Apparel. Now, beyond that, I want to give that opportunity for others who have brands out there. So the next sweater I wear on the next episode could be your brand across here. So if you have a brand or a product, even a product, reach out to us, comment below, or send us an email at the majorvationpodcast@gmail.com. All right, now back to the episode.
I always tell everybody, look, I think the insurance industry finds you. And that is what happened with me. I graduated with a bachelor's in biology, so nothing to do with this career at all. I was applying to different medical schools at that time. I actually got started with the industry 5 years ago. And I was working as a behavioral technician with foster kids. And I was working from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. in the morning. And it's crazy how life works because I don't know if you've ever looked into social work or being in that field, but it can be draining. So I have a lot of respect for people that have been doing it for years because we do need it, right? We do need people that are taking care of that population. But it was one night that I was like, man, today it's tough. It's a tough night. And I was praying. I'm like, God, please put me in the right direction. You know my dreams, you know my goals. You know that I want to take care of my family. And 2 months later, I actually got introduced into the company, into the industry. And I was like, well, I don't know if this is for me or not. And I was just looking to make an additional income because I don't know if you've any of people who's going to be watching has ever felt like they're living paycheck to paycheck, right? And like you're working, clocking in, and then you know that that check it's already accounted for. So that I was in that position and I was like, well, I'll start it. It's giving me flexibility. It's something that it's needed out in the community. I personally didn't know anything about life insurance or retirement or anything of the financial tools that I'm about to talk about. So I was like, well, if I need it, there's a lot of people that need it. My family needs it, and if I can do it around my own time, why not? So that's how that was the mentality when I got started. I was looking to just honestly like $2,000 on the side, if I'm honest with you. Later on, as I was sitting down with the families out in the community, they were very grateful for the information. So the more I impacted them, if you take a look at the industry, it's a very good industry to be a part of. So I was like, well, they're liking it. I'm liking it. Might as well just be a full time. I left my career, became a full time. Months later, after getting started with the company, then I became a broker. I actually just opened a new office here in Camarillo. Our grand opening was Saturday. I'm working with my business partner, Jeanette and Jose. They're actually helped me open the office. So we're super super excited. I can tell you a little bit about where we're going as an office and as we go through the through it. But that's how I ended up. I ended up staying in the insurance industry actually. Um, and I like I said, this industry finds you. So I just feel like I was meant to be here. So
It's fantastic. So obviously, when I speak to other insurance brokers and people in the industry, which I have a lot of friends that are in that industry, and I think they've had similar paths in regards to, the insurance industry finds them, or initially it was just something on the side, right? And then it just got as more informed as they got, or how big they discovered it is as far as the need and also the opportunity, they got deeper into it. And so I can kind of see how that path aligns with a lot of different stories that I hear. But was there a moment where it like truly clicked? Was there a conversation? Was there some information? Was there a check that happened? Like, what gives you the motivation to walk away beyond just having a vision or a passion or want to do something different? Like, was there a defining moment that said, you know what, let me go after this full time and leave my other situation?
yeah. It's funny because it's not even with insurance. I love the product. I believe in it. I know that it's going to change a lot of lives when it comes to retirement and living benefits and all that. But we're super competitive. I don't know if you've ever looked into PHP, which is our my company, and we're super competitive. So actually, I had a conversation with another agent, and he said something that pissed me off as far as like competition. And from there, like I didn't even know I was that competitive, but it bugged me a lot that after that I got to work. And then from there on, I love the leadership that we have, the leadership development. I am the person that I am today because of God, because of the leadership that I have, and because of what I've been taught in this industry. But that was the defining moment for me. It was nothing to do with insurance. It was not, it was somebody said something that pissed me off, then I wanted to compete and I ended up just running after that. And I still to this day, he says he has that, that on me. It's like he'll say something, he knows how to do it too. And then I love competing. So
No, I think that's great. I think a lot of us can attribute to that as well, too. Somebody pushing our buttons or just inspiring us and just kind of pushing us to become the best versions of ourselves. So, just for full context, yes, I do know of PHP. I'm actually a friend of Patrick David, Jose Gatan, and all those guys. I've spoken at some of their things as well. So, I definitely understand that industry a lot. And I've met so many great people, in that industry as well. So for someone like yourself, I've also heard stories of when you enter into this particular space,
Mhm.
um, sometimes there isn't like fast success. Let's say sometimes people hit a wall or they get stuck. If you've ever felt that, what were some of the processes that you did to kind of work yourself through it? Did you lean more on leadership or did you just lean more so on your competitive spirit? Like, what got you through those moments if you were ever stuck in regards to getting those closes on those calls or in those in-person meetings?
Absolutely. I think in any business, there's going to be a point where you feel like that. And for me, well, first of all, you have to self-develop. You have to work your mind because your mind is going to dictate whether you end up quitting or you keep going. For me, something that helped, it's prayer. For me, I'm huge on that, and on my lowest of lows, the I felt like the only thing that was holding me in that moment, it was actually God. Like I've never felt God so strong, but in those moments. And one, it's falling in love with the basics. I know that with the lows, you're gonna get through it. That's what I have always felt. So for me, it's either you quit or you go through it. And for me, there's no quitting. So I decided to just stick with it, work, keep on working because nothing's gonna happen if you don't work. So that's something that helped me. But more than anything, it's just believing in yourself that you're gonna make it happen no matter what. So that's what has helped me. But I feel like, with like I said, it's creating the momentum for yourself, falling in love with the basics. You create the momentum and then you maintain it as well. But then your next fall, because life is like this, right? It's not like just grow. It's you're gonna go down, up and down, but then you want to your identity falls on your lowest. So when you're in your lowest, that's your identity for me. For me, I need to work on myself so my identity grows and my next low, it's not as low as my previous one. And with challenges, I see them as blessings because you can learn through it. So you have to assess, what am I supposed to learn from this right now? So what is the lesson being taught through that challenge? And move from it, learn from it. So the next time, because if you don't learn from it, you're gonna continue down the road, it's gonna happen again until you learn the lesson. And also it's like, okay, I need to learn my lesson because if somebody comes into my life or in my team, I need to help them go through that as well. So I'm kind of learning in both sides for myself and for somebody else so I can coach them through it. And then you just after the challenge, you're going to be a better person. That's a better version of yourself. So that's what I keep in mind when I'm ever in going like in a low season, and just continue working. That's my biggest tip from that.
Yeah, I think that's a great explanation. I believe that a lot of people can relate to that because, as you said, on the path to any kind of success in any business, in any industry, it's never just always up, right? There's those obstacles, those road bumps, those roller coaster moments that you have as well. And during those moments, there's the opportunity to push yourself or to quit, right? And given the fact that you're not a quitter, obviously you're going to continue to push through. But the fact that you've pushed through is going to make you a testimony for others when you are working with others and guiding others on their journey because you've actually lived it, so you're just not talking the talk, you're actually walking the walk. And that's why I believe that when you are working with people, you're going to be so much more relatable because you're talking from firsthand experience, not only sharing other people's story, but your own personal story and journey as well. And I think that's going to foster great leadership in regards to everything that you're doing and building with you and your partner. So, salute to you guys on that particular mindset and perspective because it's a lost art form that I found out recently, to learn to think. And it's the most it seems like a very simple concept, right? But you actually have to learn how to think. And my learning how to think started 17 years ago, right? I wasn't always a great thinker, and I'm still a student. I'm still a work in progress, which is why I keep the circles I keep because they hold me accountable and they compete as well and know how to push my buttons as well. So it's good to make sure that you're around those type of conversations and individuals that are going to push you because they see a better version of you continue to blossom and grow. A little fun aspect of it. Want to dive into this. So, got a few questions that are you just answer. Let's just see if you. I want to see how you answer these.
Okay.
Insurance is often seen as like, let's call it the broccoli of adulting, and but it's something that's necessary, but it's not that exciting, right? To a lot of people. So how do you make it seem like dessert when you're promoting on advertising on Instagram or talking to people? Because some people look at it like, oh, insurance, right? And I've been a part of those conversations, but when you walk through the certain benefits of it, and they actually learn something from it, then it ends up being like dessert. So how do you kind of navigate those conversations?
It's so funny that you say that because one of our mottos it's making life insurance sexy. Because
Mm,
yeah, and that comes from Patrick actually. We're making the insurance industry sexy again. But going into that, life insurance is a must, and we can go into it in a bit, but I would say talking about what really makes your life insurance to work different than the one that you own. It's one, it's financial education. And two, being able to use your life insurance while you're living, because most people don't even realize that. One and two, the cash value accumulation. So being able to grow your money 6 to 9% tax free, that I think that right there is what really attracts people to it. And then when you compare it to other retirement tools, of course, I have personal experiences with life insurance, with close friends of mine, and I can share it with you. I think that's powerful. Being able to share that and be a testimony to what the difference it does make in families. And then also I use a lot of fun. I have fun with it. If you go into Instagram, sometimes I'm just making fun of certain excuses that people make. Just making it fun. I think most people will relate to that. But that for me, that's the biggest thing. So financial education, and the aspect, not just life insurance, because life insurance is the vehicle that I use, but making sure that people understand what they have. Because life insurance, there's a lot of different types of life insurances. So
no, that's true.
I go based more on like understand what you have, know that you're properly covered, because that also has to be hand in hand. And I would love to share that as well in a bit. But I would say that the dessert and what makes it flavorful, it's more the financial education aspect and knowing that you're properly covered for your family.
Fantastic. If someone is scrolling through their feed and they saw a meme about skipping insurance to save money, what would be a witty clapback that you would have to make them rethink their decision?
So okay, say that again.
So if someone is scrolling through your feed on Instagram
Mhm.
and and saw a meme about skipping insurance to save money, what's a witty clapback to get them to rethink that decision?
I
Like
actually
I don't want insurance because I want to save money. So what would be a rebuttal to you in regards to saving money? Because that's a lot of what a lot of people use, I guess. Oh, I'd rather pay for this or this outfit versus paying $60
yeah.
for life insurance. Like what would be a rebuttal that you would use at that moment?
I just did a video on this, and it's going out. When you go out to dinner, like if you go out, if you have a family and you have two kids and you taking the wife like a dining out, that's way more than your actual life insurance policy. So I actually did I just did a video. I don't think it's a clapback more than anything. But I just did it's like watching people go to party as they just told me that they didn't have money for their life insurance. So
Yeah.
something like that. If you buy a daily latte, I love coffee. I'm a coffee addict. But if you take a yeah, if you actually it's like $8 per latte nowadays. If you do the math, that is actually way more than you would spend on a life insurance policy. So
No,
if
that's
if
true.
So if people really wanted to, save money, then I would go with that route.
So can you explain? And I was reading something you sent over. You said something that I agree with, but you said that insurance is the cornerstone to building generational wealth. Can you kind of expand upon that? I know we kind of peppered over it and touched on it a little bit, but let's take an opportunity now to just kind of really unpack that, in regards to generational wealth and how it correlates to life insurance. Because for me, I have 17 policies, but I know how I'm more educated in that field and I leverage it in different ways, and all kids are covered and stuff like that. Because once more, I've been around people like Patrick Bet David and others that have educated me over, last 3, 4 years. And I've been able to do a lot of great things with it. Can you kind of unpack some of what that means when that's said or when someone sees that?
Absolutely. So there's different ways in which you can look at it, but we'll go with just the life insurance portion. We can go into the cash value and all that in a second. But if you take a look at it, the life insurance, just the death benefit, right? If you're properly covered, you
Hello to all my major vaders out there in the world. Listen, I am enjoying the interview just as much as you are, but I want to take a quick break just to tell you about my 30-minute and my 60-minute strategy calls that I recently launched, and it's just for you. Now, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're trying to learn how to sell, build a personal brand, you're an executive or a business owner, these strategy calls are specifically for you. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of great mentors, but I also have real life experiences that will directly help you on your mission. So send me an email at the Majoration Podcast or just DM me on Instagram at Major Williams, and I'll see you on that call. Now, back to the episode.
because if you when people pass away, they're either going to pass down debt and troubles, or they can actually set up their kids and their wives and their spouses for success, not just their wives, their spouses overall. But if you have a policy in place that is going to pass down generational wealth, where the mortgage is going to be taken care of, the debt is going to be taken care of, but because I don't know if you knew this, or not you specifically, but the viewers, debt is not eliminated when you pass away. It's get carry on, right? So if you have debt, that's going to be eliminated. Mortgage is going to be taken care of, and then you also set up your family for success, where they're not going to be um, being, they're already struggling with the loss of a loved one, but now they're going to be set up in a position where they can still keep the same lifestyle without you there. And then we can go into trust. If you have a policy, it can go to trust, and a trust and all that. So that's on the death benefit, right? Now, the cash value, I was just talking about it. If you set up a policy for your kids when they're young, time, when you're talking about compounding interest, time plays a huge role in it. So if you set up a policy for when your kids are young, let it compound. By the time they're, 30, they're going to have a significant amount of money, depending on how you structure it and all that. But all that money is helping them being set up for their own future, right? Which is tax free. So life insurance is more than just, passing down some money or funeral expenses. It can set your family up for life. And if you go into the trust and then waterfall method and all that, that is how you create generational wealth. But yeah, that's how. So that's the cash value and the death benefit. And then you can go into the living benefits as well. So I don't know if you've ever heard of living benefits before, but it's called accelerated death benefit, where if the person becomes disabled, they're able to use that policy while they're living. They're able to use that death benefit while they're living. It depends on what scenarios, or what's the scenario in that, whether it's chronic, critical, terminal illness. Actually, a story that I would love to share with you, and this is a close friend of mine, and her name is Jessica. She actually trained me in this industry. She's a broker that trained me. She got a policy because living benefits are not something that has been in the industry forever. They're recently newer. So she got a policy for $100,000. And she got breast cancer 2 years ago when she was 31. And you might think, oh, I'm young for my life insurance, right? But think about it. I'm 31 and she was 31. So she got that's a critical illness. So she got about 50% of her death benefit, which gave her a $50,000 check. But think about it. If she would have had $1 million, $5 million, 50% of that would have completely changed her life as well. I mean, $50,000, great. It helped her pay for treatments that healthcare does not cover, and made a difference. Her mom also got diagnosed with breast cancer 2 months after that. So, and she didn't have a policy because she was uninsurable by the time that Jessica got into the industry. But with that one check, she was able to take care of her mom and her bills and treatments. But just being able to properly educate families on how much insurance means for people, if she would have had the appropriate amount for herself, her income would have completely been replaced. And that's the value of this, right? So and that's something that I love teaching people. Like, understand that everybody is different, everybody has different goals in life, everybody needs a specific amount of coverage, because if that happens, your mortgage, you're not going to be worrying about your mortgage, you're not going to be worrying about the bills, you're only going to be taking care of yourself.
Right, right. No, that definitely makes sense. That's a great explanation. It's a great story too. Um, let's talk about the model of the vehicle that a lot of insurance companies are using now. You know, it shows an allure of excitement and enthusiasm and party and understanding the power of social media. And you know, I've heard mixed interpretations of what that represents to a lot of people, right? Because I think sometimes people get confused with MLM and multi-level marketing and stuff like that, or salesy, right? But for me, my experiences in attending some of them, it's extremely it's invigorating, it's exciting, it's educational, it's a networking opportunity. How have you benefited from, if you've been to, you know, small or large or mid-sized you know, seminars? Like, how have you benefited from those, seeing other leaders speak about the industry and some of the stories that you shared as well that possibly inspired you to continue to do what you're doing as well?
You know what? If it wasn't because of those events, I don't think I would have been in the industry like past 3 months, because the mentality that you have, it's way different. So, and you can go different routes. Like I had an employee mentality, right? So it's like clocking in, clocking out, and I get compensated for that. But then this industry, and specifically this model, helped me understand going from employee to self-employed, and a little bit having a little drive, because the amount of that you put in, the work that you put in here, it's correlated to the success that you have. And then going from self-employed to business mindset, but seeing other people or other leaders starting from where I started, they went through, sometimes I feel like I'm going through something and then I hear their stories, I'm like, I'd rather go through what I'm going through. And seeing that they never give up, so it's more like the example, the leadership example that I get from them, the development that I have from them. Having mentors in any business is like a cheat code. It's a cheat sheet for your business, because you are going to be learning, you're gonna save yourself a lot of headaches if you listen to them and you learn from their mistakes and see what it worked out and their systems that they're using. So learning from all of them, I'm like a sponge. I try to learn from everybody, and not just in this industry. I feel like everybody has something to teach me. But just being a sponge to the leadership, to what has worked for other business owners. And thank God we have these events, because every time I attend one event, like, it sparks something in you. It's like a little, like, your fuel station. You go there, you get motivated, and you're like, okay, right. I'm like, I want to go back to work. It's it all over already. It's just like a little light that you need because like I said, life is like this, and sometimes you're gonna feel motivated, sometimes you're not, but you have to build that discipline to continue going. But if you go to an event and you feel motivated, it just you glow different too. So if
No,
it
that's
was
true.
yeah, if it wasn't because of those events, I would have not had some connections. That's a great opportunity. I'm connected with offices in Texas, Florida, and Tennessee right now. And so other parts of California as well because of those events. And it creates momentum for my business because then I also get business from that. So
Right. And then I think one of the advantages of being able to, I think you touched on this earlier, you may be going through something, but then when you hear somebody else's story, we were like, man, like I keep my issues and my problems because, but also you get a chance to see like if that's their problem and they're still pushing through and they're still going, well, I'm gonna figure out my whole situation and I'm going to keep going. So that's kind of like what I get from any of those environments that are set up like that. It's kind of like a reinforcement, right? Just go there, get some new information, some networking, and just you just never know. It may be that one piece of information that allows you to take your game to the next level. So we have like 6 minutes left, and I just want to fire off some questions and you can give me like 30 seconds for each one, 60 seconds for each one, but I want to cover as many as we possibly can. I know we had some more notes here, but why should parents consider getting life insurance for their kids? I know you talked about it briefly in regards to by the time they're 30, they'll have this possible nest egg available, but why is that so important for families and parents to really think about that now?
besides the cash value and the wealth, and helping them set up and using time on their side, it's the locking insurability. So I've actually, particularly this time, I have two kids policies and they're being under reviewed right now because of previous examinations. It was nothing serious, but because it's already in the record, they're taking a little bit they're taking longer to get them approved. So when you lock in the insurability when they're young, something happens because you truly, and I have another story on this as well. You truly don't know what can happen. Right now we live in a time where it's a lot of illnesses are happening and at a younger age too. So you lock in that at a young, healthy age and then they don't have to worry about it in the future. So the most important thing it would just to lock in the insurability, and the second part is to use time in their favor. By the time they're 18, they're 30, they have something to fall back on and they don't have to, if they want it for it. If you properly set up that policy, it can get you through college. You don't have to go into debt trying to get an education. If you don't want to go to college, you can start a business. You can use it as your own bank as well. So those are the main things for kids policies. It's insurability and the cash value accumulation.
No, that's fantastic. And if someone wants to learn more about this and possibly, you know, show interest in getting insurance after seeing this episode, where can they find you and how can they contact you to kind of further explore?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram. It's at Brianda, Brianda_Sigmund, Sigmond. So I do a lot of Instagram, and then also if you want to text me, it's 760-909-435. Just text me your name just so I know who it is from and you're interested in learning a little bit about life insurance or how to utilize these vehicles for your family to plan ahead. I'd love to help you because I don't know, I get passionate when I'm doing a Zoom call. I'm like, I get passionate when I'm explaining about the life insurance. I get carried away sometimes. But but yeah, you can reach me like that that way.
That's fantastic. Well, I think you're doing service work. I've studied a lot about life insurance over the last 4 years, ever since I linked up with Patrick David. I actually flew out to Florida. I was on the PBD podcast as well. We had a really great time But afterwards, we went to lunch and we just had one of the most amazing conversations, one-on-one for 2 hours, undisturbed. And I was just asking questions. And I think that was something that he really appreciated, right? Because here I am with my certain status, here he is with his certain status, but even still, coming together, I want to learn more about this particular industry. And that started my journey in understanding a lot about the actual industry and connecting with others in the industry. So when I found out this was what industry you were in, obviously I wanted to highlight you being part of PHP, so more people can get highlighted and not only learn about it, but learn about it specifically from you and hopefully contact you, that hopefully that could help your business grow as well, especially with the new launch of the business. So congratulations on that as well with you and your partners. Um, what has been, got like a minute and 30 left before it goes, but if you was able to summarize the time you left your full time, your other job, and taking this on, what would be like a 2 sentence summary of your experience so far in the insurance industry?
Uh, a roller coaster. A roller coaster. No, it's been, I feel blessed. I feel blessed, even though it has been a roller coaster, I'm not gonna lie. I feel blessed because, like I said, every challenge that I've gone through, I feel like it's an opportunity for me to become a better version of myself. And
Absolutely.
that would be the only word that I have for you. I'm blessed with the leadership that I'm working with, the company that I'm working with, the connections that I've had. Like you said, you're actually one connection away from changing your whole life, and not just yours, but the people around you. So before doing this podcast, I was praying like, let us make a lot of like a huge impact in the community, whatever that is for somebody, their motivation or services. That is the biggest things for me. So blessed with the opportunity, blessed with the company, blessed with the clients that I've helped. And I am praying that I'm of service and a vessel for God. And yeah, that's
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Majoration Podcast. We will stay in touch and we will help push and promote everything that you're doing. But thank you so much for joining the show.